It actually happened. £7.36. The first ever dividend payment of my life just landed in my account. From £200 I put into Legal and General 3 months ago. And honestly, I did not expect it to feel as different as it does. This is not a giant amount of money, it is the cost of a sandwich and a coffee. But it is the first time a company I own a piece of has actually paid me in cash. And every single one after this builds on this moment. So today is also month 3, £200 more going in, a new stock added to the portfolio, and the snowball for the first time is actually rolling. Quick one before we go any further. This is not investment advice. I am documenting my own investing journey. Always do your own research before putting money into the stock market. Let me show you exactly what happened. The 4th of June was the payment date. I checked my Trading 212 account that morning, and there it was, £7.36 credited as a dividend payment from Legal and General, 47 shares multiplied by the final dividend of 15.67 per share. That money did not come from my own contributions. It came from a company I own a small piece of, simply for owning that piece. And here is the bit that genuinely matters, that £7.36 did not just sit there in cash. It got reinvested automatically. At a Legal and General share price of around £2.70, that dividend bought me roughly 3 more shares. So now I own around 50 shares of Legal and General, not 47, and those new shares will pay their own dividends, which buy more shares, which pay more dividends. That loop right there is the whole point of the dividend snowball, and it has just started turning. Let me put a real number on what just happened. Those 3 extra shares I now own throw off roughly 67p a year in dividends at the current rate. 67p. Not life-changing, no. But that 67p buys a sliver more shares next year, which pay a little more. And that is the part that genuinely breaks most people's intuition about compounding. Left alone for 30 years, reinvested every single time, with no further money from me at all. This one £7.36 dividend keeps buying and rebuying until it is quietly generating a meaningful slice of income on its own. And every dividend after this one does exactly the same thing. That is what the snowball actually does. Each payment is small. The cumulative effect, given enough time, is enormous. Quick recap of where we have been. Month 1 was Legal and General and Aviva. £120 into Legal and General at around an 8% yield. £80 into Aviva at 6.3%. Month 2 added BATS at 5.78% yield. 4 shares for £170.80. We covered the full case in the BATS deep dive. If you missed that, the link is in the description. 2 months in, here is how each holding is doing. Legal and General has been the early mover, up nearly 7% on the price alone, and the yield is still sitting up around 8%. That is the holding that just paid me the £7.36, and the dividend per share held up, which is the part that actually matters no matter what the price does day to day. Aviva is up more modestly, around 1.5%, still yielding above 6. BATS is still too new to read anything into, but its next quarterly dividend lands in August. None of this is dramatic. And that is exactly the point. Boring is the strategy. Honest pitch. Then I will get back to it. As far as I can tell, this is the only channel following a real UK dividend portfolio month by month, from genuinely nothing, £200 and 0 dividends, all the way to whatever it grows into. If you want to watch what £7.36 turns into once you reinvest every single payment for the next 2 years, come along for it. Subscribe. Right, back to month 3. So before adding any new money this month, here is where the portfolio sits. Around £390, 3 stocks. Legal and General is now around 50 shares thanks to the dividend reinvestment. Aviva is unchanged at 13 shares. BATS is unchanged at 4 shares. The first dividend has compounded. The portfolio has officially started growing itself. The current dividend run rate is around £27 a year, up from the 26 I quoted last month, and the only reason it moved is that the reinvested Legal and General dividend bought me a fraction of a share that now pays its own dividend, tiny in absolute terms. massive in concept. The compounding has quietly started. Right, new stock for month 3. The pick is B&M European Value Retail, ticker B and M on the London Stock Exchange. The high street value retailer, more than 700 B&M stores across the UK and France, plus the convenience arm, the kind of shop you walk past or into most weeks. And at the price I picked it up, the dividend yield is sitting just under 6%. Here is the quick case for buying. Yield just under 6%. A forward dividend of roughly 10 pence a share. Dividend cover around 2 times. Comfortably covered by earnings. And a price-to-earnings ratio of about 8 at the price I bought, which is cheap by any normal yardstick. But here is the thing the market has clearly been worried about. The share price had fallen hard over the past year, from around £3.50 all the way down to under £1.80. That is more than a 50% drop. A stock cut in half. So why is the market scared? 3 reasons: slowing UK consumer spending, rising costs hitting margins, and concerns about whether the discount retail moment of the last few years has peaked. Those are real concerns, but the company is still profitable, still paying the dividend, and still expanding stores. The yield is high partly because the price is depressed. There is real risk this is a value trap. There is also real value if the worry is overdone. And here is the twist. Just days after I bought in, the company's full-year results landed, and the shares jumped around 25%, up past £2.10. So the position is already in profit before I have even finished making the case. That does not settle the value or trap question. It just means the market liked the numbers. I will be doing the full deep dive on B&M soon. The bear case, the bull case, the actual numbers, all of it. For now, £100 is the size of position I am comfortable putting on while I wait for the deeper case to play out. For month 3, I am putting £100 into B&M. At around £1.70 a share, that comes to roughly 58 shares. The other £100 tops up what I already hold. £50 more into Legal and General, £50 more into Aviva, both still paying yields north of 6%. £200 in, same as every month. The discipline does not change. So here is where it all stands at the end of month 3. 4 stocks, £600 invested in total, and the forward dividend run rate is now climbing toward £32 a year, up from 26 last month. The first dividend has landed and been reinvested. The next one from BATS comes in August, and the second Legal and General payment arrives in the autumn. The trajectory is genuinely starting to bend now. 3 months in, £600 invested. An income run rate already north of £30 a year. Let me put some year-by-year numbers on this. Projections, so treat them as a rough map, not a promise. By the end of year 1, the portfolio should be around £2,400 invested at a blended 7% yield. Annual income run rate around £170. By year 3, with reinvestment compounding on top of fresh contributions, the portfolio crosses £8,000. Run rate around £560 a year. By year 5, the portfolio crosses £14,000. Run rate around £1,000 a year. By year 10, the maths gets genuinely interesting. A portfolio of around £35,000, throwing off roughly £2,500 a year in dividends. None of that assumes I get clever or pick better stocks. It assumes the boring case. The dividends hold, the shares grow at an ordinary pace, and I reinvest every single payment that comes in. The £200 a month does not get bigger. The yield does not get bigger. What gets bigger is the base, and every dividend feeds it. Looking forward to the rest of the year, the next dividend payment lands in August when BATS pays its first quarterly dividend, around £2.45 for the 4 shares. Then in autumn, Legal and General pays its interim dividend. Then a B&M dividend later in the year, then potentially an Aviva final. So from being a portfolio with 0 income 3 months ago, this is going to be a portfolio receiving a dividend payment roughly every 5 or 6 weeks for the rest of the year. Each one bigger than the last because each gets reinvested into more shares. And quick note on how I'm tracking all this. Every single dividend payment, every reinvestment, every share count update gets logged in a portfolio document I keep alongside the channel. The actual numbers behind every episode come from there, not from memory. If you've been following from the start, this is the document I'm slowly building into the on-screen graphics. By month 12, the portfolio summary card will look genuinely different from the one in this episode. That is the snowball made visible. And one honest reflection from the first 3 months. The hardest part of dividend investing is not picking the right stocks or timing the market. It is the patience. For the first 30 days, you put in £200 and get nothing back. For the first 60 days, you put in another 200 and still nothing. Then on day 93, £7.36 lands in your account. And it changes the whole feel of the strategy. From that moment forward, you're no longer just paying in. The portfolio is paying you back. Every payment from here makes the next one bigger. Month 3 is done. The first dividend has been paid. The snowball has officially started moving. And coming soon, the full B&M deep dive, why this is either a value opportunity or a value trap, and how I'm thinking about the difference. If you want to follow this all the way to a real dividend income, subscribe. New episode every week tracking every payment. Now I want to hear from you. Have you ever received a dividend? What was the moment like for you? Drop it below. Until next time, happy investing.